Welcome to Mom's Kitchen Lessons. Today we're going to be making the mix for a veggie burger, which is going to be a sweet potato and spinach burger. So what I've done is I've baked these sweet potatoes, and now I'm just going to take them out of their skin and put the meat of the sweet potato into this bowl. And we're going to be smushing all the ingredients together, so it doesn't really matter how good what size your different pieces are, because you're going to smush it all together with the other ingredients. So just get it out of the skin the best you can. And in fact, if you can get it out without even using a utensil, you might be able to just take the sweet potato and just take the skin right off. And then you can put it right in the bowl. And then we'll still smush it up with the other ingredients. I'm going to take this little end off. Okay, that was easy. And
I have two of them. I don't really know how much we're going to need. We're going to see what this makes. And this is just making the mixture today, because as I've said with other veggie burgers, you can make the mixture ahead of time if you're not ready to actually make the patties. So today we're not going to make the patties right now. I'm just going to show you how to make this mixture. And in the next video, I'll be making the patties. So, okay, let's keep the skin off of here. And like I said, you can use a spoon or however you want to get the skin off of the potato. It's up to you. I'm just going to get it all in the bowl. Oops. A little bit of spinach was trying to make an appearance.
okay, so that's sweet potato is in there. It's baked. I happen to bake these at 375 for an hour, but one of them was still, there were two different sized potatoes, and one of them was done after an hour, but one was still sort of hard, so I put that one back in for 15 more minutes. Okay, and then they seem to be, pretty good consistency so that we can work with them. And then, of course, I let them totally cool before I started this process so that I can actually, work with them. So this is going to be our base for the veggie burgers. And what I've done is I have finely diced onions and garlic, and I sautéed them, and I've let them cool as well. So I'm going to now put in, I did half an onion and about 4 big cloves of garlic, and of course you can adjust the garlic depending on if you like garlic or not. So you can always just not put garlic in or add a lot of garlic. It's really up to your taste preference. So go ahead and put the onions and garlic, which are already sautéed and cooled, into the sweet potato mixture. This is going to give it a lot of really good flavor. And in this mixture, you can add whatever spices you like in here. I was thinking of maybe trying something new. I got a new spice. Some people call it black cumin, but it is not cumin at all. It's a spice called nigella, but it has other names. So the one that I got is actually called charnushka, and charnushka is used in a lot of Indian dishes, and it's also used in rye bread. So it has this is what it looks like. It's little tiny black pieces. Almost looks like a black sesame seed, but they're all different. They're not quite sesame seed shaped. They just look like little tiny black pebbles. I might put some of these in here. I don't know how it's going to be, but we're going to give it a try. When you sprinkle them in, you can see that they look a little bit more like sesame seeds. But when you see them in this jar, they don't look like sesame seeds. I'm just going to put a few in because they do have a kind of a strong smell, and I don't know how it's going to actually taste. So that's an experiment. Okay, we'll see what happens. Also, some people I know actually grind these little tiny things in a pepper grinder, but they're so small as it is, I don't really know how that would work out. Okay, now, before we put the spinach in, or maybe we'll put the spinach in. So I got some fresh baby spinach from a local producer. Our Giant carries local produce. And so I've just taken these baby spinach leaves and I've chopped them up, just sort of a rough chop, so that they weren't going to be whole spinach leaves. When you like bite into your patty, you don't get a whole entire leaf. And I just did a handful, so I didn't measure anything. You know, I always just kind of do it till it looks like it's the right amount. And again, to taste, right? So if you want a lot of spinach in your spinach and sweet potato mixture, of course you can add more in. Now I'm tasting this to see if it needs seasoning. But the other really interesting thing I'm going to do in this particular concoction is that I'm going to chop up some parsley and some fresh parsley to also give it another interesting little flavor that one might not be expecting to be in a sweet potato burger. But I love the taste of parsley, and I don't know how the parsley is going to taste in this particular concoction, because parsley is good in certain things. Like parsley, I think, is great in Italian food, and it's great in soup, and it's great as a garnish on both of those things. So I don't know how it's going to be in this kind of a concoction, but I'm willing to give it a try, because when you work in the kitchen and you're a home cook, it's all about experimenting. So let's give it a try. Let's put some parsley. Let's put some fresh. I'm just going to start with a little bit, not too much. I chopped up actually more than I needed, I think. All right, let me mix this around. And it smells really good. I love the smell of freshly chopped parsley. I love the smell of freshly chopped any herb that you're taking right from the garden, or like a fresh one from the grocery store is just as good. They smell so good when you freshly chop them. If you're making pizza or Italian food at home and you have fresh oregano that hasn't been dried, or even fresh oregano that you had from your garden that you dried yourself, it's so fragrant, and it's so good to put that kind of stuff in your recipes. Gives it so much flavor. Okay, now, that's really good. Oh yeah, that parsley adds something, a nice little something. Okay, now, whenever we make our veggie burgers, we need a binder. So I always, when I make the black bean burgers, I use oats. And when I've made a different kind of veggie burger with the mushrooms and onions, and I think I did beets. I'm not sure what I did, but I used quinoa. So anything that you need to have something that's a binder, because this won't make patties. It's too soft. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my usual 1 cup of oats. I'm going to put it right in, and we'll get that all mixed around and see what it starts to look like consistency wise. And as I'm doing this, I'm thinking, you know, I can add other things. Like I can add more spinach, I can add more seasonings, and you should feel free to experiment with what you like and put what you like into your food that you're making in your kitchen. So, you know, just because I put something in it, like just because I put parsley in it, you might not like parsley, and you might not want parsley in it. You should put in what you like. Okay, so now the oats are getting incorporated in there. It's still pretty wet for making patties. Now the other thing that you can add in this kind of a mixture for veggie burgers is you can always add in beans as well. So you could do white beans, chickpeas, you know, whatever you like. So, all right, we're gonna put that in, see what happens. This is called Play With Your Food. So the other thing I'm gonna put in is a binder. So I have 2 other things that I have waiting in the wings, because I wanted to see how bound up it got with the cup of oats. So the other thing I'm gonna add in now, And adding in that extra spinach made it look really pretty. It added more green stuff in. So, yeah, I think that looks really good. Let's get this all scraped off. Okay, so the other things that I have as binders waiting in the wings is I have 1/8 of a cup of chia seeds. And I've said before when I've done the other veggie burgers, chia seeds are really wonderful is a really wonderful binder, because what a chia seed will do is absorb the liquid. The other thing I'm going to put in is 1/8 of a cup of ground flaxseed, also a good binder. So in here for our binder, we have the oats, 1 cup of oats, 1/8 of a cup of chia seeds, and 1/8 of a cup of ground flax. And that'll start to give it a lot of really good, a better consistency to make burgers that will help you when you're ready to actually do the patties. All right, now I'm going to taste it with everything that's in there, the chia seeds, the flax seeds, and everything that's in here is edible as is. That's really good. I feel like it needs some seasoning now. Now that the concoction is complete, you really want to make sure you taste it and add in some salt or pepper, or whatever you like. So I'm going to add in some of my one of my favorite things to put on things is this everything seasoning. It's delicious. So I think I'm going to add it. It's going to give it a really nice extra something flavor-wise. And I will just fold this through so that can get all in there. Oh my gosh, it smells good. Even just sprinkling that on, it smells divine. It's so good. It has salt in it. It is a little bit salty. If you're trying to avoid salt, this is not for you, because this is a bit salty. You can also just get, if you don't want the salt, but you do like that garlic flavor that's in there, that's in an everything seasoning, you can get something like this, which is a garlic mill. It's dried garlic, and you can just, it's like a pepper grinder, and you can just grind it in. And now that's not salt, that's just garlic. This is going to be delicious. It smells wonderful. Okay, so that looks really good. That looks like good patty consistency. I think I'll be able to get some good patties out of this. So I'm going to put this in the fridge, and when I'm ready to make the patties later on, I will see you back here, and we'll meet at the stove for the patty making. See you then. So, as with all my other veggie burgers, I make a ball, and then I push it down, and that makes a patty shape. I put the griddle a little bit higher than I would normally do. I normally, if I'm doing it on the stove, since I have an electric stove, I do 5, which is, exactly medium. If I'm doing the griddle, I usually put it on around 250, but I wanted these to, because I feel like these are really going to stick and be hard to flip, I put it on 300 because I wanted to get that little bit of a sizzle like you're hearing, so that the one side that's down will sort of get seared, and maybe that'll make it easier to flip. We'll see. This one's like a little slider sized patty. This one's a little kind of fat, but they're all different sizes, but they're basically bun size except for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and let that cook for 5 minutes on the first side, and then I'll flip them. Okay, welcome back to the burgers. Putting them on 300 worked really good because it did sear this side and made the flipping pretty easy. And then I turned it down to 250 for the second side, which actually was not a good thing, because then when the 5 minutes was up on the second side, they were sticking to the pan. So I put it back up to 300, and I left them on for a few more minutes, so they've now started to cook more, and I'm able to lift them off. So you can see that that for this particular kind of wet concoction, it was better to have it up at 300. So I'm going to go ahead and take these off because they've been hanging out.
They stayed on their second side longer than 5 minutes so that they could be easily taken off the griddle since they were sticking. And turn this off.
So there you have it. Beautiful. They look gorgeous. They smell amazing. So we will have these for dinner tonight. And I'm going to put a piece of baking paper down on top of them to put the second 4. These look great. I can't wait to have these for dinner. They smell amazing. Oh, this one's a little bit stuck. What's going on with this guy? There we go. 8 beautiful burgers. Easy and delicious. All right, I hope you give it a try. Enjoy.